All right, well, let's get started and start in a comfortable seat. You don't have to be cross-legged. I want you to sit some way that you are able to focus on just your breath, right? So your body is comfortable. So if it's not, figure out what that means for you. And as you settle into your seat, noticing, because we are going to work on the upper part of the body, take a moment to kind of feel into your head, neck, shoulders, upper back body, chest, your arms, your hands. Not that you can't pay attention to the rest of your body, but I want you to hone into the upper part of your body and see if you get any information. And then as you breathe in, breathing in and pulling that breath all the way down your body. And as you breathe out, imagine that it starts down at your pubic bone and you're kind of pressing the air out of your body as you exhale. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, just breathe regularly, nice, long, smooth, full breaths. And asking yourself, how do you want to feel at the end of practice today? Right? So setting your intention. How do you want to feel? And people set their intention in different ways. You might bring your hands to your heart center, bow the head to the heart to the earth. You might just say it silently to yourself. Setting your intention, though, it's kind of one of those things where you can't get there if you don't know where you're going, right? And then when you're complete, we're gonna release the hands, and again, make sure that you're comfortable. So if that means straightening out your legs, go ahead and do that. We're gonna start with our hands. So I want you to interlace the fingers, and we're just gonna roll through the wrists. And I know for some of us that's fun, some of it's awkward. We're gonna pause, go the other direction. And then keeping your fingers interlaced, if that's how it works for you, you're gonna take one wrist up, one wrist down. Switch it over. So we're just trying to stretch our hands in different ways, right? And there's lots of different ways that you can do this. This is just one we're doing today. Then shake out your hands, and we're gonna place the hands on the floor. So what I'm doing, we're on the tops of the hands, right? And you're trying to spread your hands out on the ground, right? So you're pressing into the ground, so you're stretching the front of the wrist, maybe into your forearms. And then I want you to very gently, this is not a big movement, move front to back. And it's tiny movement, right? Tiny, tiny movement. You feel that? No?
Not my forearms.
Not in your forearms.
It's all in my wrists.
Yeah.
It's in my thumbs.
Where?
My thumbs, why would my thumbs?
Yeah, well, we use our hands all the time in so many different ways that we don't necessarily give them attention. So again, shake them out. Now, in your comfortable seat, and you know, the neck is an interesting area, right? It holds this heavy head, you know, and it's pretty narrow. So I just want you to be aware when we do our head movements that it doesn't hurt, right? We have just the right spot so that I can't see you. Maybe, yeah, come up a little bit. That would be great.
No, I think there should be a second.
Now, I want you to inhale, head up, and exhale, bring your head down. Now, see if you can not move your upper back body, if you can just move the head. So the difference would be if I'm going like this, where my upper back rounds, or if I'm just taking my chin down. So inhale up, exhale, chin down. And for some of us, it moves as one, right? So we're trying to just pinpoint that one area. And then we're gonna keep our head upright and turn and look over your shoulder. And again, trying not to drop your chin down or up, just keeping your head, Even, inhale, center, exhale, turn the head. So we're looking for, again, information, right? And never forcing anything. Now, with your head up, next time you come back through the center, we're gonna take, so you're not dropping your chin forward, you're gonna take your ear towards the shoulder. So again, inhale up, exhale, ear towards the shoulder, alternating sides. One more time. Then we're gonna pause, and you can't really shake your head out the same way that we did the hands. And then, now I want you to, again, just try to lift your shoulders up and drop them down. A lot of times we roll with them, but I just want you to lift them up and drop them. Looking for more information. And then next time you inhale them up, let's roll them back and slide those shoulder blades down the back of your body as you're rolling through your shoulders. Already, like I can feel, must be on that pickleball. All right. Now, we're going to use our tennis balls, and I'm going to show you two ways, because for some of us, it's too much pressure. So the first way is to get yourself down onto your side and place the tennis balls at the top of your shoulders, and then and you're staying on the sides of your spine, right? You're on the muscles on the sides of the spine. And some of you just may like the tennis balls right at the top of the shoulders and just rest there. Some of you will want to move your body up as the tennis balls make their way down your back body. And please let me know if it's not clear. And the other way, for those of you who don't like that, you can take one tennis ball and bring yourself to a wall and just work one at a time. So it's much less pressure. You can control it a lot more. And then you'll have to do one side at a time, because I find if I try to use two tennis balls at the wall, they run away from me. Now, as you're on your back with the tennis balls, or if you're at the wall, you might start to move through one or both arms, or you might just rest there, right? So you could take your arm out to the side, you could take it up overhead. You're going to explore and see what feels good as far as movements through the shoulder with that tennis ball or tennis balls on your back body. Yeah, and you, when you're standing against the wall, you have to add a little pressure so you don't lose the tennis ball. Beware. Okay. Now, if by chance, we have tennis balls here, but if by chance you don't, you can use your hands to massage. You can use a rolled up face cloth or a small towel. I suggest not using anything firmer than a tennis ball. You know, they have the little balls at the longer dollar store that are even softer than a tennis ball, and those can be really nice. But as you make your way down the back body, you're going to make sure that you stay where there is structure. So don't go below your rib cage and don't go on your spine. Okay. And as I'm watching you all rolling around, I'm thinking that you might want to stay here longer. If you're doing one side, go to the second side if you have not done so already. And if you've been working with your arms on one side, definitely switch to your second side. We're going to take about another minute. So you're rolling on your tennis balls or yourself doing a self-massage with your hands or finding something else. But you, of course, like with everything that we do, we don't want it to strain you, right? So you're working in a way that feels good in your body. I would say that we're almost at that minute spot. So when you're ready, you're gonna take out your tennis balls and roll over to your side and sit yourself up. And you can put those tennis balls in a safe place. And then sitting up, we're gonna take our hands behind us, and you're gonna decide if you want your fingers pointing towards you, out to the side, or away. And then take your feet about as wide as your hips. And we're gonna just carefully move your knees side to side. Inhale, center, exhale to the side. Lots of ways that we can do this position. We're exploring a different way today, so just kind of noticing how it feels to move through your legs in that way. And next time you come through the center, let's take the bottom of the feet together with your knees opening out to the side. And so some of us here will naturally kind of drop your body back. If that's you, you can place a folded blanket under the back of your pelvis to help your shoulders get over your hips. And again, now we're going to move those knees in and out. So inhale, open, exhale, bring them together. Now, if it sounds inviting, you're going to add in the arms. So inhale, arms up, knees out, exhale, knees together, arms down. Inhale, exhale. And one more time. All right, so we touched all those parts that we talked about. Now we're going to come up to standing. We still have lots more to do, but when you get up to standing, let's find one of those tennis balls and just roll through your feet. So we kind of like, the plan was to kind of activate all those, or awaken all those parts that we talked about wanting to work on today. I know, I was like, it hasn't been that long. Why does it feel like this? So seeing if you can touch all the different parts of your foot as you're rolling around. And then, I know some of you just started, but eventually you're gonna do your second foot. And just, getting information again, like how are your feet? What have you been doing with them? How are you taking care of them? Or not? So when you feel complete, let's put that tennis ball off to a safe place on the side. And find a comfortable stance, feet about hip width apart. And without using your arms just yet, we're gonna roll up onto the toes and then onto the heels and lift the toes. Of course, I want you to be safe, so there's always our friend the wall that you can have as a neighbor. All right, so now eventually we'll come to a place where our feet are flat, arms at your sides. We're gonna add in the arms. So it's gonna be inhale, start to lift your arms, and we've done this before, right? You're gonna use your arms as you're breathing, and you're gonna come up to a place that feels good, and you might get higher, lift those arms higher as you're moving, or not. One more time. All right, and then settling on the ground, shake out those arms a little bit. Now I want you to look down at your left hand, and you're gonna start to lift that arm up and follow it with your eyes, and you're only going to bring it as far back as it feels good, and then exhale back to center, alternating sides. And you're just kind of, how far does your head want to go? Like, how does it feel in your back body, in your hips, in your neck, as you're moving side to side with your breath? And the next time you finish your right side, we're gonna pause for a second in the middle and bring our hands onto our thighs. And inhale, body up, exhale, come halfway down. It's okay if your knees bend, if that feels better. Inhale up, exhale down. Now next time you come up, we're gonna add on to this. So we're gonna inhale the arms up, and then exhale them onto the low back as you come forward. Inhale, sweep the arms forward and up. Exhale, hands come onto the back and your body comes forward, and you're bending as deeply as it feels good. And there's no rush. You're just exploring as you move. And one more time. So the next time that you come up, you're going to stand and pause for a moment. And then we'll step the feet out a little bit wider, maybe as wide as your mat. And your hands are going to be on your hips or wherever it's comfortable. I just want you to roll through your hips. So how does that low back feel as you're moving? And the hips and your feet on the ground. We'll pause in the center and then go in the other direction. Does anybody feel a little bit warmed up yet? Even though it's cool in here, I can feel my temperature changing. Okay, and again, we're gonna pause and step your feet about hip width apart. And we're gonna go through a modified salutation, but feel free to intensify or back off, depending on, as I was thinking about class this morning, what came up was one of the yamas, parigraha, which is not grasping for more than we need. And so I was thinking about that. Like, so as we're going through this, like thinking about like, what do I really need? And not necessarily striving for more, which is, some might think is counterintuitive when we're doing a type of exercise. But I was just planting that seed. So as we go through this, just see what comes up. So we're gonna inhale the arms up and exhale into a forward bend. So again, any kind of forward bend that works for you. Keep your arms in line with your ears or slide them down the legs. Then we're gonna inhale halfway up. Exhale in towards your legs. We're gonna step back into a lunge, and some of you may like to have your blocks at the front. So let's step back with the right leg. And here, I want you to, we're gonna be up on those back toes. I want you to gently reach your heel towards the ground. Not that we're trying to get it on the ground, we're trying to stretch the back of that lower leg. You're still breathing. We're gonna step that foot forward and then take the other foot back. And again, the same thing, pressing your heel towards the ground. Still breathing. And we'll step that foot forward. And now we're gonna take our hands down to the ground. So bend your knees however much you need to. And we're gonna step back into some sort of plank position. You could have your knees on the ground or have them lifted. And the inhale is going to be with your knees on the ground or knees up. Inhale's gonna be here. Exhale, you're gonna come back towards a down dog, or if your knees are down, towards a child's pose. Now we're just gonna go back and forth with the breath. Inhale forward, exhale back. Just kind of moving with your breath. Now the next time that you're in your forward position, knees up or down, we're going to, everybody gently bring your knees to the floor. Walk your hands back a little bit. We're going to take the left foot forward. And again, turn those back toes under. We're going to lift that knee up. And again, you might like to have blocks under your hands. We're going to bend and straighten that front leg. Moving with your breath. And next time that knee is bent, we're going to step the back foot forward. One more time, take your right foot back. And then with your breath, bending and we're just switching sides. Bending and straightening the front leg. Now, next time the knee is bent, we're going to step forward again. Take your hands onto your legs. Inhale, body up. Roll through those shoulders a couple of times. Take a breath. I'm very aware of body temperature, not just because of myself, but because of how warm it is outside. And I want you to think about, again, keeping balance within. So one more time, we're going to take the feet about as wide as your mat. And then with your arms, so I want you to inhale those arms out to the sides. Exhale, inhale again, and come over to the side. And alternate. No rush. If it sounds inviting to you, the next time we do this, you can start to look towards that lifted arm. Now this next one, we're going to do a variation of triangle pose. And people teach and do triangle pose in lots of different ways. So I'm going to show you two ways, and then I want you to see which feels better in your body, right? So one way is to turn sideways on your mat and have your feet parallel, right? And do your triangle pose like this. The other way is to have your feet, like your front foot pointing towards the front of your mat, and the back foot turned in, and doing your triangle pose this way, right? So let's do it with the right leg forward, just so that if you're doing it in the forward stance, or you can have your feet parallel. We're going to extend the arms out. You're going to think side body's long. Inhale, body up. Exhale as you take your hand to the back of the leg and start to slide down, keeping your chest open. And again, coming to a place that feels comfortable, and then thinking about where would your head feel good, looking at your foot, looking straight ahead, or looking up at your lifted arm. And if it feels uncomfortable with that lifted arm, you could take it down onto your hip. On an inhale, let's slide on up. And we're going to pivot our feet so that they're parallel, and then turn to the second side. And when you do that, you want to make sure that your back foot is not behind your front heel, right? So make sure that you still have a comfortable stance. And again, we'll inhale those arms up, side body's long. Exhale as you come down to the outside of your leg, since I noticed all of you chose to do it this way. And again, as you're sliding down, find a place that's comfortable for your arm, your chest is open, and then where does your head want to be? On an inhale, let's come up and turn your feet parallel, step those feet together, and let's come towards the front of your mat. And does everybody have a strap today? I have two, because I grabbed everything at first, and then I couldn't find where I put it. But I did. Okay. So how are your head, neck, shoulders doing so far? Okay. Waking up a little bit?
Yes.
Still attached? Okay. So you're gonna have your strap maybe slightly wider than your shoulders, and some of you, depending on your shoulders, will want to have the strap held wider, right? And we're gonna inhale, take that strap up overhead, and now here we're holding the strap. You're gonna inhale again, first you exhale because I'm talking. And you're gonna start to bring your arms back a little bit, tiny little back bend. Inhale back to neutral. And exhale, forward bend, and you can take your hands onto your legs or keep your arms extended, holding onto the strap. Inhale, come on up, all the way up overhead. Gentle, slight, little back bend. Exhale, come forward. One more time. Exhale, forward. And when we get down here, you can let go of the strap. We're going to take our hands onto the floor of the blocks and bring our feet a little bit wider. And you're going to inhale up and exhale, bend your knees and take your butt towards the ground so your elbows stay straight. Just bending through the knees and taking your butt towards the ground. Inhale, legs straighten, exhale, knees bend. And you may want to transition here differently. Some of you, when you're in your squat, will want to come all the way down. We're going to come down to the ground. And some of you may want to come onto your knee and come down. But either way, we're going to end up on the ground. And actually, before you get yourself all comfortable on the ground, I want to use a wall for this next part. So most of you can just slide your mats back, and I'd like you to have a blanket and your mat. And if you're at home, you could put your feet on the edge of a chair or on the wall for what we're going to be doing. And this is actually one of my favorite things to do for head, neck, and shoulders. And I want you to be really careful when we're doing it. And I know, you're going to have to come around to see what I'm doing. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to have your blanket on the ground with a rounded edge away from the wall. And you may have to maneuver how your blanket is going to be, because your butt is going to be towards the wall and your head is going to be on the mat and your shoulders are going to be on the blanket, okay? And then we're going to bring your butt as close to the wall as it'll come, and then you're going to take, so mine is too far up, so I'm going to come up, and we want our head on the mat, shoulders on the blanket, legs on the wall, okay? And hopefully this is fairly comfortable for everybody. Now, once you get yourself set up, we're going to bend the knees and take your feet flat on the wall. And the movement is going to be inhale, lift up your hips, exhale, bring them Inhale, lift up those hips, and you're only moving the hips off the ground as far as it feels good, right? Feet on the wall, lifting up the hips. You can have your eyes closed, but you're gonna keep your face pointing towards the sky so we don't interfere with that blood flow to the brain. Inhale up. Now, some of you, when you come up, it may feel good to take your hands and place them on the low back with your fingers pointing towards the sky, so that you're supporting, you have a tripod with your elbows and your hands and your upper body. And then you may take one foot off of the wall at a time or not. Remember, it's an exploration, and you're only moving in a way that feels good to you. Now, next time, if you're extending your legs, we're going to bring them back to the wall. Gently place your hips on the ground. And we're going to pause for a moment, so we're going to do a short rest. And just take a few breaths with your legs up the wall. Now, if it sounds inviting, I'm going to ask you to take the bottoms of your feet together and slide your feet down the wall and open your knees out to the sides. And then you could have your hands on your legs or on the floor. You could also start to move your knees from side to side, or you could just relax here with the knees open up to the side. And some of you actually might like to have your legs straight and as they're open up to the side. So you really need to ask yourself what would feel good to you right now. So when you feel done with this, though I could stay here for a long time, we're going to bring the knees together, carefully roll over to your side, and then you're going to bring yourself up. And you can stay where you are, you can make your way back to your spots. That was the part that I wanted to do with the wall. Is everybody doing okay? Some people are not moving. I'm like, what's going on? I know, it's kind of, it is very relaxing. That's one of the things I do at night if I am not tired and I need an assistance. I need some assistance. All right, so once you figure out where you're going from here, we're going to be on our backs. And just like we did, only now our feet are on the floor instead of on the wall, your arms are at your sides. We're going to lift up the hips. So inhale, lift up those hips, and exhale, take them down. Moving with your breath. Noticing if you can get your chest up off the ground too, or if it's just your hips today. And then we're going to add in some arms. So next time you exhale down, we're going to inhale one arm up and turn your head as you lift your hips and your chest. Exhale, hips come down, arm down, head back to center, and alternate sides. Moving with your breath. One more time on each side. And when you're complete, we're going to pause for a moment. We're going to do one more thing here, and that is to interlace our fingers and press your palms up towards the sky. Now our arms are gonna stay like this, stationary, if that works for our body. And the movement is going to be lift up the hips and the chest on your inhale, exhale, bring them down. So it's a way to try to access that upper back body by moving your hips and chest. And the next time your hips come down, you're going to relax for a moment, relax your arms, and when you're ready, carefully bend your knees, roll over to the side. We're going to use our blanket to make a little roll. And we're going to start in what Judith Lassiter calls the Tadasana of the blanket. Mountain pose of the blanket. And we're going to make a little roll. Now, for some of you, this might be too big a roll. So I'm going to show you, and you're going to try it out and see how it feels, and then decide. So you're going to put it vertically on your mat, and in this one, your butt's going to stay on the floor, and you're going to pull that blanket to your low back, and then bring your upper body onto the blanket. And yes, we can do these things with bolsters too, but I like the blanket here because that way it helps to open up the chest a little bit because there's not support under the shoulders, but some of you might prefer that. Now, once you're here, you can have your knees bent, or you can have them straight, whatever feels best in your low back, especially, but all of your body. Now we're going to take our arms out to the sides like we are, some people call it, like I like to say, cactus or scarecrow or goalposts. So your elbows are open out to the side. The inhale is going to be here. The exhale, we're going to bring the elbows, forearms, and hands towards one another. So inhale, open your arms out. Exhale, bring them together. Just moving with your breath, no rush. Now next time your elbows, forearms, and palms come towards one another, we're going to hold them together, if that works for our body, and you're going to reach your fingertips up over your head. So you're like pressing towards your face, towards the top of the head, moving again with your breath. Next time you're back at the center, we'll relax the arms down to the sides. And then, when you're ready, we're going to bring the bottoms of the feet together and open the knees out to the side one more time. And if you have your blocks close by, you could put them under your thighs or your knees, or you can just allow them to give into gravity. But making sure that it's not overstretching your groin, that it feels comfortable. Taking a couple of nice, smooth breaths as you settle in. It's another time as we relax here with your breath to check in with your body, check in with your breath. So we could stay here for a little bit, especially when you have support under your legs. But if you feel like it's time to move out of this position, please do so. You can bring your knees together and roll over to the side, or you can continue to be here. All right, and so let's all bring our knees together and roll over to the side. And you'll use your hands to help you sit up, maybe. And of course, you always have the option to continue to stay in that position if you like. So for those of you who are moving on, we're going to take the left heel towards your right hip. Then you're going to bend your right knee and place that on the ground, and your left foot will come up over your right ankle. Does that make sense? And we're a little tilted here, right? That would be normal. Now you're going to take your hands and place them over on the left side. And some of you might like to have a little block over here to have your hands on. So we're starting to turn the chest to the left. This is a variation of a pose. How is that feeling in the body? A little wonky. Stretch. One more breath. And of course, you all come out whenever you need to. We're going to come forward. We're going to undo our legs. And again, right heel towards the left hip. Left leg comes over, and then your right foot comes over that ankle. And then we're going to slowly start to turn our body to the right. So, you know, it's one of the, for me, it's one of those poses that looks like it's not a big deal, and yet I get a huge stretch here. Am I alone in that? So again, one more breath here. We're going to come back to the center, undo your legs, and let's stretch them out. So here, we're going to inhale, body up, exhale, slide down. Coming back to your center. You could have your knees bent here, if that feels better in your body. Right? What we want to do is stretch out the low back a little bit and to come back to our center. So you decide what feels best for you as you're inhaling up, exhaling down. Now this is the time. Actually, I want to do one more thing with our wrists before we go down for Shavasana. So let's bring the right arm forward, and you're going to very carefully hold on to your hand and press towards your body. And you're sitting in whatever way is comfortable. You do the second side. These are things you can do every day. Of course, I say that about everything, right? All right, let them go, shake them out. And then we're going to bring your right arm up and bend the elbow. So your fingertips are walking their way down your back body. And then you might take your hand and help lift, or you, like for me, sometimes just pressing my elbow up is enough of a stretch. And we're going to do the second side. So carefully releasing that arm, taking your second arm up, hand onto your back body. And again, maybe you want to add in the other hand, or maybe you just want to press with your, so I'm kind of pressing my hand into my back body and reaching my elbow back a little bit. All right, letting it go. Now my mind's going, there's all these things I want to do with the head, but we're going to make our way down towards Shavasana, and then I think we'll do a little bit of with our head after we do Shavasana. So ask your body if it needs anything else, and if it does, go ahead and do that. Other than that, start to think about how you want to be in Shavasana. You might even go back to the legs up the wall that we did earlier. You might want to have that roll under your back still. You may want to have nothing under the back of your body, but you're going to get yourself into a comfortable position. And it is chilly in here when we start moving. Sometimes that become very aware of that. So if you want to put socks or a shirt on, feel free to go ahead and do that. As you start to settle into your position, I invite you to, for the next few moments, allow your mind, your body, your breath to soften and relax. So as you start to come back to becoming aware of your breath, your body, where your mind is at. Contemplate what would be a really nice way to gently reawaken moving your body. So you may even want to start to move it away, that you come up to a seated position, and always, if you ever feel like you need more time on the ground, you are absolutely welcome to stay there. So what I was thinking about doing, and the reason I thought I'd do it after Shavasana was, I want you to just gently, and I know some people don't want to mess up their hair, so you can do it like in whatever way works for you. But I want you to think about gently massaging your scalp, right? All of your scalp. So this is a nice way to, one, release some heat, right? Our head releases a lot of heat. This helps it. But it also is a way to start to to wake up, like if you're working on something and you can't get a clear head, this can be very helpful. And it doesn't have to be like a really hard massage. It can be really soft, or it can be harder if that feels good. So gently, and I do kind of like little circles with my fingertips, but really it's whatever feels good to you. And I thought for our breathing practice that we would do that chant. Some of you know it, and what it says is, oh, great Laksmi, and Lakshmi is the symbol of abundance and kind of like that feminine aspect of power. So it's kind of invoking that, calling that in. And feminine doesn't matter if you're, what gender you are, right? Because we're all masculine and feminine. We all have masculine traits and feminine traits. So if you want to join me in that, so it says Om Shrim Maha Laksmi Svaha with a melody. So I'll say it once, and you can say it aloud, or you can join in. Yeah, you can say it silently. All right, so, and we'll do it 3 times. Om Shri Maha Lakshmi Swaha. Om Shri Maha Lakshmi Swaha. Om Shri Maha Lakshmi Swaha. That wasn't so bad. And yeah, and if you have questions about anything that we do, you can always So I thank all of you for being here and coming out no matter what the weather. Because sometimes I know when it gets this hot outside, it's kind of, people don't want to necessarily leave their houses unless they have to. And I thank all of my teachers, past and present, and I acknowledge the lands that I've been in. Namaste.
Namaste.